This is the problem that Usue and I, Natalia de Mena, have to solve. And even though that we are not being able to record together the video, we have worked together in all the projects and solving all the case. So we will first start with an introduction and a general view of the problem in order to see the situation that we have to solve and the situation of the company. So the problem that we have to solve presents us a company which is called ASW Publishing, and it is a publisher of college textbooks. So the question that Usue and I are asked is what books should the company publish next year in order to maximize their benefits from sales and to have a good economic situation. So we don't have much information about this company, but the most relevant information that we have to check is that the company has 3 workers, John, Susan and Monica, and that it can publish 10 different types of books regarding different subjects that the company covers. And now we will pass to do a general description of the problem, seeing the different data that we are given and the information that we can take into account in order to solve the case problem. So in the problem we are given these 2 tables with different information. The first table has 3 columns, which is the book subject, which are the 10 different types of books that the company can publish, the type of book that can be revision or new, and the projected sales. The type of book can be of 2 different types. The revision type is that the book is already under contract with the company, but as they are books that have been already published in previous years, they have to be revised in order to publish them as new books. And then the new type book is books that have been reviewed and that are ready to be published, but that they don't have yet a contract with the company. So we have these 2 types of books, and then the projected sales that the company thinks that the publishment of these books will give them. And then we have another table with data that it is also the different subjects of the books, and then we have the 3 different workers of the company, which are John, Susan and Monica. So we have each of these workers has a number of working days, and also they are taken into account for the publishing of each book. So for example, if we see the column of John, we can see that John has to work on the business calculus book for 30 days in order for the book to be ready to publish. So these are like the different working days that each of the different workers have to destinate to the preparation of each book in order for the book to be ready to be published. So this is like the time available of each of the workers. And also we have to take into account some warnings, and as we are doing a problem in the model formulation, we will take into account this information in order to state the constraints. So the first one is that the company doesn't want to publish more than 2 statistics books or more than 1 accounting text in a year. So this will be 2 constraints of our model formulation. And also another warning that we have to take into account is that at least 1 of the mathematics books has to be offered, but the 2 of them cannot be offered, just 1 of them. So this will be different constraints of our problem. And then the problem also asks us that in our managerial report we have to also analyze some changes that can occur in the company, and we have to recommend if these changes would be advantageous for the company or not. And they would be to increase Susan working days to 12 more days, also to increase Monica working days 10 days, and then if some revisions could be postponed, if they could be postponed. So after doing all the model formulation, we will analyze these recommendations and tell if they are advantageous for the company or not.
Hi, my name is Usue and I will be explaining the model formulation. So the main objective of this exercise is deciding which books will be published the next year in order to maximize the total amount of sales. So it is a maximization problem. We also must respect the constraint stated by the exercise that I will be later explaining. So in here we have 2 options, whether publishing the book or not publishing it. So it is a 0-1 integer linear problem, or also known as a binary problem. We will be giving the value 1 to the books that will be published next year, and 0 to the books that will not be published. The decision variables will be represented in the following way. For example, x1 represent the business calculus book, x2 the fine art math book, etc. So here we have the objective function, and as I mentioned before, it represents the total sales of the year. So we want to maximize it. In here, these numbers represent like the expected sales of, for example, the business calculus book. Here we have the constraints, which are a total of 6, and the first 3 ones make reference to the total amount of days available by the 3 individuals selected by the company to perform this project. So, for example, John's working days are a maximum of 60, Susan's working days can reach at most 40, and as well as Monica's maximum number of working days is at maximum 40. So these numbers represent that, for example, if the X1 book, this is the calculus book, were going to be published, it will require 30 days of John's working days and 40 days of Susan's working days and 0 days of Monica's working days in order to publish it. These 3 constraints are stated by the ASW itself and are not to publish more than 2 statistic books, also not to publish more than 1 accounting book, and to publish only one of the mathematics books and the other one to not publish it. So the software that we have chosen to perform this exercise is Lindo, which it is a program commonly used for linear programming or integer linear programming, and it is also the one that we have most used in class. So this is how we have written the problem in Lindo. And well, the first thing we must do, or anyone must do, is to write the objective function. And since it is a maximization problem, to write the abbreviation max. Then we must write the constraint and be careful because there's need to put subject to before writing any constraint. And then we must write the end. So since it is a binary problem, there is the need for, in order for the program to understand that we are dealing with a binary problem, to write the abbreviation int in front of all the decision variables.
Well, so once Usue has explained the model formulation, we will introduce this output on Lindo and we will obtain the resolution of the model. So I will now explain this model resolution. So well, once we have introduced the output on Lindo, this is the final output that we obtain, and now from here we will interpret the solution of the problem. So well, this is what we obtain, and here we have the objective function value, which is 73,000 books. So this is the optimal solution, and this will be the quantity that the company will have to produce in order to obtain to maximize the benefits from sales and to have a good economic situation. And now here, as we have explained, this is a binary problem, so we will the company will have to produce and publish the books that have a 1 value here, and the books that have a 0 value means that they will not have to be published. So in this case we have 3 variables that have a 1 value, which are the finite math, the business statistics books, and the finance books. So this means that these 3 books will be the ones that will have to be published, and in total the company will publish these 73,000 books. And this is the information we can obtain from this final output. And here we also have the slack or surplus variables values, which are 34 for the finite math book, 16 for the business statistics books, and 10 for the finance books. And now we will start analyzing, like I have explained before when we were looking at the general view of the problem. Now we will start analyzing the different recommendations and the different changes that can occur in the company. And after our analysis, we will determine if they will be advantageous for the company or not. So I will start with the first change that we have to analyze. That is that if it would be advantageous to do so, Susan can be moved off another project to allow her to work 12 more days. So to sum up, this recommendation says that the working time available of Susan could be increased to 12. So the only thing that we have to do is that in the model formulation, in the constraints of the working days of Susan, we have to increase the right-hand side value by 12 units. So instead of 40 working days, the working days of Susan will be 52 working days. So we will change the right-hand side and the right-hand side value. And the output that we obtain is this one that you can see in the screen. And as you can see, the objective function value has changed, and now instead of 73,000 books, the company will be able to publish 80,000 books if Susan increases her working days. So the production will increase by 7,000 books. As a result, we can conclude that this change would be advantageous for the company, because if the working days of one of the workers increase, then the production will also increase, so the benefits of the company as a result will also increase. And in this case, looking at the different values of the variables, the books that will be published will be the finite math book and the managerial accounting books. And it will be advantageous for the company to increase these working days. Yeah.
So the second recommendation to analyze is the case that Monica increases her work days by 10. This is, she passes from working 40 days to working 50 days. Before explaining anything else, I would like to clear out that these changes are in addition to the previous changes that Natalia has just explained. This is, we are recalculating the exercise, having in consideration the addition on Susan's work days. So the only changes that we must do in Lindo is to change the right-hand side of the second constraint and increase the value by 10 units. So the result in here, the objective function value is 105,000 books, which it is the optimal solution. So in fact, it has increased from the previous example that Natalie has just explained, from the previous recommendation, it has increased 25,000 units, and from the initial situation, it has increased 32,000 units. So the books produced will be finite math, business statistics, and managerial accounting. As we can see, it is beneficial for the company to increase Monica's workday, since as the production is increased, it will also be increased the profits. So now we will be analyzing the third recommendation and the last one, which is in the case that one or more revisions could be postponed if it will be beneficial for the company. We have been seeing many scenarios in which some books appear to be the ones that will be published by the company in order to obtain an optimal solution. These books are finite math, business statistics, finance, and managerial accounting. 3 of them are revision type books, and the other one is new type book. So as we can see, as a conclusion, it will not be beneficial for the company to postpone the revision and in essence of these 3 books, since they collaborate to obtain the optimal solution, which is a total size of 73,000 of books. On the contrary, we would recommend for the company to prioritize the revision of these books because of the reason that I have just explained.